Hey everyone, welcome back to class number 2 of our Stardust and Sparkles workshop. Today, we're going to be making the Glitter Girl necklace. Now, this involves some of my most favorite and unusual materials, including a very unique glitter cord that I'm going to show you how you can manipulate, as well as some hollow mesh. So if you don't have any experience with either of these items, this is the right class for you. This design is going to be fairly simple to put together, but I think I'm going to be able to teach you a couple new things, at least on how to wire wrap some beads onto the glitter cord. So why don't we pan down at my workspace, and then I could show you all of the different materials and stuff that we're working with today. Again, I just want to remind you that I'm going to use the first 20 to 30 minutes to just teach through the class. And then we're going to switch the mic over to you guys and you can ask me any questions. You can use a chat feature if you have any specific questions as we're making this on the spot. And Joan will be more than happy to ask those questions live to me. She is working behind the scenes very diligently to do the different cameras and stuff as I'm working to show you guys how to construct the piece. So Joan, go ahead and switch me over.
There we go.
Perfect. Awesome. All righty. So here is our Glitter Girl necklace. Very glittery. And I had time to also paint my nails as we were on break. So now I fully feel put together and ready for the Stardust and Sparkles. All right.
Neely, that necklace is incredible.
Oh, thank you. I was like, am I hearing myself for a second? No, thank you so much. It's a very fun design to put together. And I had mentioned the glitter cord and using that in corporation with the hollow mesh and then layering colors on top of each other. Layering colors on top of each other to make a really cool overlay and just bring the necklace to a whole different level. I don't have a clasp on this one. That's because I saved it for the design that I'm going to put together. And you guys also know how I feel about clasps, so here we are. Okay. What I did in the silkies group earlier, hopefully if you're able to catch it, because I've been a little late to the posting game as well. I'm trying to get stuff sorted out on the back end, but you guys had a little bit of time, maybe, hopefully, to be able to pre-string some of this. And if not, then you get to listen to my beautiful voice and be able to string along as I'm going to teach the rest of this design construction. So within your kit, you will have some of these little baby pinch beads in the light sapphire color. So all I did was I kind of folded that entire strand. He has a clasp, says Emily. Yes, this time I was prepared for this particular workshop. Not always, but this one I was. What you can do is take your pinch beads and fold it in half as it comes on a cotton cord and just find a good division between the strands. And then just string that many. I think if you counted it right, there should be about 24 per strand, or per side, I should say. And you guys can string that along. And then what I did was I just strung my little bead cap. This is facing up toward the pinch beads. And by the way, I'm using soft flex beading wire that came in your kit. You get a full 10 foot of this beading thread. Of this beading wire that you can use for a couple of the different projects that are in this kit. And you only need about 2.5 feet, maybe. Ideally, you're making about an 18-inch necklace. You can make it a little longer by adding some beads at the end if you want to, or just keep it the size as it is. It's totally up to you and how you want to wear it. So yeah, 2 feet of that. And then strung on that is some pinch beads. We got a bead cap that faces up, a little white rondelle. This is that beautiful milky color. And then I've got a nice blue AB, I think this is about 10 millimeter-ish rondelle bead as well. And then this brings us to our glitter cord here, which is a hollow tube, as you can kind of see. And just, I guess, depending on how it transported, I was very hopeful that it would not stick to anything, and sometimes it does. It's just kind of all glued together, I guess, for a lack of better term. So if you want to, later on after this is constructed, give it a nice fresh coat of nail polish, by all means, go right ahead. It will help to prevent that glitter from falling out should you wear it a long time over time. And I just strung that along as well onto my beading cord or beading wire. And the thing is, the cord is warped. It's not going to come out perfectly arched as this does. But I have a trick for you, so do not worry. That is very clever and the perfect way to get this cord to behave and lay the way that it's supposed to. I'll teach you that in just a second here as we finish up our stringing. So we got a nice big chunk of glitter cord. This is roughly about 5 inches, I want to say. And you can customize this 5.5. It's about 5.5. So I say 5.5 to 6 is probably a safe size. The bigger the cord here, the longer your necklace just becomes. And if you wanted to make a shorter, smaller pendant, you would simply just cut your cord smaller before stringing it on. But 5.5 is a pretty decent size to work with. And then I just have the same components strung in reverse. So we got that big rondelle, we got our nice little small milky white rondelle, our bead cap that's facing up toward our pinch beads here to finally finish this. It says my piece is longer than 5.5 inches. Yeah, you can absolutely just take a pair of cutters and trim it down if you want to, Trish, or you can work with the entire 5.5 inches. Totally up to you. I recommend, because we're starting this for the first time, go ahead and use the 5.5 inches if you have it available to you. And if you should find the glitter cord elsewhere in a future kit or just even as a raw product, you can then customize it however you'd like using some of the same techniques that you'll learn here today. Okay, once you have the basis of this strung, you're really kind of ready to get in there and start beading. So what we're going to do is work on our centerpiece first. I just have a couple of bead caps that I'm using to secure my ends for now. And we're going to use some 2x2 crimps to secure this at the end. So Sally is asking, I have 12 inches of cord. Yeah, another necklace. Hey, you got it. There's plenty of beading wire here for you, plus some glitter cord if you wanted to make an extra necklace. You might even have some beads at home that you want to try it in a different format. That's a great idea. And then Cheryl is going to bring me to my next part of this tutorial, including wire. So I have a piece of 20 gauge craft wire. This is the same one that we used in the previous class. And I'm going to cut it just a bit shorter than my glitter cord here. Just a little bit shorter. So I'm just going to grab a pair of cutters, trim it off, and then you hit the nail on the head, Cheryl. We are going to actually just slip this right through, and we're going to just stuff it right inside of that cord. Now, as you can see, my piece lays flat, but we don't want it to lay flat. We want it to be folded in a little bit to kind of accommodate our round necklace design. So I'm just going to slowly start to pinch it and push it in. And you can see now it lays perfectly flat and round. Well, it's perfectly arched, I guess I should say. So that's the big trick. Okay. At this point, we can start to arrange our beads and also grab some 26 gauge wire. So I have this, and as you guys are sort of working to get this nice and beaded up and stuff, I'm going to go ahead and start laying out the same format of beads for this. Really just a way to buy yourself some time as you guys work. And I had mentioned using the nail polish on some of the glitter beads. So if you wanted to later coat some of the beads that are on this necklace, you can definitely do that after this design is put together and just let it dry, you know, as you would nail polish. Sam, you were so kind. Thank you. Okay, so I have our big crystal there. That's the second one in the kit. And then I'm just starting to, I cut our rondelle, no, sorry, these were already in the Ziploc baggie too. So I'm just using these little tiny baby rondelles at the ends of our big glitter beads here. And then I'm just gonna grab a couple of these round glass beads. And then it looks like I'll need some of our lavender colored rondelles that I'm just gonna grab some of. A little extra Ziploc baggie of those. Okay. So we'll just put one of those at the ends there. Okay, and then we have, whoops, some more glitter beads, followed by rondelles. Perfect. And then now we just have a couple of these milky white beads and followed by some more of those purple beads. Oh, and I forgot to put one in the middle here. So that goes right there. And then I'm just going to stick a couple of these at the ends here. Okay, now, coffee tasting real good. I'm just going to grab some 26 gauge wire. And I'm going to show you this technique because now it's basically just repeating the same thing over and over again. And that is a fabulous technique that I learned from my friend, Sarah Lovecraft. If you are familiar with Sarah and her work, you know that she loves to sometimes make her own head pins. And so that is what I'm basically reteaching. Probably not as good as she can, but again, if you have any issues with this technique, I highly recommend going over to her YouTube channel and or Facebook and seeing some of the wonderful techniques that she teaches with ease and just such smartness in her design. And I'm going to cut about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'm going to cut 4-ish inches. This one I sort of cheated and did a little extra more than I needed to. But I'm going to cut about 4 inches of my wire here. And again, this is 26 gauge in silver. I believe if you wanted to use anywhere from 22 to 24, that might work as well. I'm just using the thinner gauge because it tends to disappear inside of the glitter cord. Okay, there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Woo, there we go. 7. 8. And 9. It really doesn't take much wire to create this particular style and attachment to the necklace. So I'm going to actually start from the center and then work my way on both sides out. So let's figure out where the center of our necklace is. So it's going to be right here. So I'm just going to keep that in mind. And I'm going to grab my round nose pliers at this point. And I'm going to go at the very tip of my round nose pliers. The reason is I want my loop and the head pin that's about to happen, there we go, to be fairly small and delicate. So much like creating a simple loop, I'm going to just grasp it there again at the tip and then just roll it around. And I'm going to roll it around to where it curls twice around my mandrel of my tool tip here. Okay. So what I have now is, if it focuses, essentially a loop that is coiled twice. And once I've done that, I can then grab the end of my wire and I'm going to just loop it right through. And I'm going to insert it into that loop. And I'm going to grab the tip of my wire with some chain nose pliers. And I'm going to grab the other side with a pair of nylon jaw pliers. And I'm just going to push it through to where that wire just tightens up oh so nicely around that loop. And essentially creates a little knot at the end here that's nice and clean. And again, I think Sarah probably uses some fun words or phrases or ways of teaching this. So if you do have trouble with this technique, highly encourage checking out her YouTube channel, because that's where I learned it from. And all I'm doing is just reteaching it to the way that I would do it, which is not that different from hers, mind you. Knotted headpin alert. Yes. Emily is saying, Sam, you are such a kidder. And Sam is laughing. I love it. Love the energy here, you guys. All right, so I'm going to just string on a lavender rondelle, and then I'm going to string on my little crystal there, shining oh so sparkly. And then I'm just going to find that center again. And I'm going to line up my bead component here, my wire component, with my glitter cord. And I'm just going to wrap it around once and squeeze while I do that. Reason is that it will actually kind of lock it in place, as you can see. And it tends to just disappear inside of the rubber of the glitter cord. And all you have to do now is just wrap it around. And if you want some extra pizzazz, you can even wrap this end either around the bead itself, like this, with some extra, if you cut some extra out, that is, or you can make a scroll and just have it lay here at the top, which will also prevent the bead from flapping back and forth. So while we're here, let's just change up the design a little bit. Normally, I would just trim the wire and say, hey, that's good. But since we're here, let's do this a little different and create a little scroll here, a little miniature baby scroll. Okay, I'm going to grasp the end of my wire, and I'm just going to start to curl it in. And before it gets too far in, I have it a little halfway there, I'm going to use my chain nose pliers, and I'm going to start to wrap and make sure that coil starts to lay flat along my loop here, so that I can just kind of gently roll this along, and you'll start to see that your coil is nice and flat, and you're making a nice little scroll here out of the wire. There's no reason to this, it just looks pretty in this case. There we go. Just a nice little like design element. And I said earlier, just a second ago, that it doesn't have a purpose, but in this case, it really does prevent the bead from flipping around because I have everything kind of nice and secured with the wire. So just a little bead for thought there. Okay, we're going to continue on with our headpin knot alert. No, knotted headpin alert. I have to get this right. We're going to make a bunch more, and we're just going to go ahead and finish out the centerpiece for our design. So far, no questions, which tells me you guys are busy creating, which is fantastic. I saw many of you post your finished design in the Silkies group already. So thank you for doing that, first of all. And also, you guys are just wildly inspiration and inspiring to myself and the other Silkies out there. So I'm in awe of you guys. Okay, and I think before I even glitter cord it, I'm going to go ahead and just make all the head pins at once, so that way I don't have to do it again as I make this. What I like about making the knotted head pins, especially, it's just easier with the thinner wire, and you can get some really nice, small, precise knotted head pins. It makes it so fun and easy to do. So, okay, is it pronounced Taisha? I must know. I have my mini
It's
beader.
Taisha.
Taisha, hi.
Hello.
Great to hear from you. I see your name pop in all the time everywhere, and I don't think I've actually physically have gotten to say hello to you. So I'm so glad I'm talking to you. But yeah, you have your mini beater helper with you.
Yes.
A mini Silky in the making. Who is this mini Silky in the making?
I'm Chloe.
Chloe, it's so good to meet you. That is fantastic. Have you been, do you do a lot of beading, Chloe, or are you just getting started? Sounds like she's into it.
Yeah. She just turned 7 on Tuesday.
Oh, happy birthday. Happy belated
Thank
birthday.
you.
How excellent. Well, I'm all for kids getting involved in crafting, and I'm hoping it's one of those things that doesn't disappear over time. So keep her beading, please. Okay. Getting my head pins worked out pretty well here. It's just a matter of repeating the same technique over and over, and then just should be hopefully relaxing and meditative at some point once you really have learned it. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I got 4 more to go. And then the fun part is really when the whole thing just kind of comes together and magically makes itself. I will say using the hollow mesh here shortly will be super easy and fun. And that's really when you get to see the necklace come together. So as I'm doing this, if anyone wants to pop on, I'm curious to know what anyone else here is doing for New Year's. I'm going to volunteer Taisha since she spoke up.
No problem. We're just gonna hang out in the house. We usually do church New Year's Eve service, and then I probably retire to my beading table until midnight to stay awake.
Oh, right on. I mean, that's pretty much what I'll be
Yeah.
doing. Do you have any well, how was your Christmas and or holiday time?
It was good. It was quiet. We actually stayed at home and stayed in PJs all day, which was awesome.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
Yeah, and we had pretty mild, I'm in Maryland. We had pretty mild weather here. So my husband threw a steak on the grill and we had kind of a non-traditional Christmas dinner. So it was great.
Oh, that's fantastic. Sounds really relaxing and just easy and delightful.
Yeah, I am trying not to do so much of the hustle and bustle anymore and really kind of just enjoy the time, quiet and downtime.
Agreed. And all of these things are so fleeting too that it's important to take the time and just slow it down a little bit. Okay, so we have some questions. So Mindy and Paula here, we're using 26 gauge wire at the moment. Yes, that would be this stuff right here. I use the Soft Lux non-tarnish silver plated 26 gauge wire. Perfect for knotted head pins for this design at least. And then Lorena is asking, hello, Nile, for some reason I couldn't get in until now. No problem, Lorena. We are somewhat in the middle of the project, but this is being recorded. And so as we sort of finish up each class, it'll be placed on YouTube at the end of the day and everyone can rewatch, watch for the first time, comment, still create and get excited. So no worries. All right, so looks like I need one more. Perfecto. Okay, let's string this on. So now that I've got all of my little pins completed, I'm just gonna set these things to the side. Okay, I have my middle designated, my center for my pendant. So what I need to do is now kind of mathematically have a little bit of a setup here to be able to get this nice and centered all the way around. So what I'm going to do is start with my metallic blue bead here, and I'm going to find the center of that section, if that makes any sense. So that'll kind of give me my division lines. So from here to here, from the edge of my glitter cord to my pendant, we're going to place that right here because it looks like that's where the center is. Okay, and then same technique as before. You can either choose to wire wrap your beads if you want to, or leave it plain. And in this case, I think I'm just gonna leave it plain. And I'm gonna go ahead and just clip this right off. And I need my chain nose pliers, which I set way over here. And I'm just gonna go ahead and make sure to wrap that right in. Okay, and I'm going to do this on each side at a time. Let's see, Joan is checking names just to make sure that they are in. So thank you, Joan, for doing that. And then Emily is asking, will everyone be able to see these videos on YouTube or only the people who bought the kit? I'm still deciding on that, Emily, because there were a lot of folks that wanted to do this workshop but weren't able to make, you know, the financial ends meet, so to speak. So I'm thinking that it might be in good favor to those folks to have it just available to everybody who wants to watch it, and you know, let it go from there. But I will say they probably might not have the same materials as you guys do, since you guys grab the kit all together. So I might do those folks a favor. We're still deciding that though. Okay, there we go. And certainly they won't be able to participate in the trivia, if anything, because I got a couple really good questions lined up. So you better have your thinking caps on. And some good prizes to give away here too, mind you. Oh no, I thought that was a little piece of wire sticking out, but it's not. All righty. So now that I have my division lines in, now I just kind of have to fill in the blanks here. So I'm going to stick that there. Looks like according to the pattern. Sally says, love these little knotted head pins. They are pretty convenient, I must say. Adds a nice little design touch as well. There we go. Perfect. And then it looks like this guy goes on this side. And then, you know, even before that, I could actually put this one at the very end and then just place my glitter bead in that gap in between. So really, it should all look symmetrical when everything is said and done. There we go. let's see, Sally's asking you put the 20 gauge wire inside the glitter cord, right? That is just for structure. Yes, Sally, absolutely. And it does provide the structure and the form as well for the glitter cord, because it is a little warped whenever it comes into your kit, when it comes from your kit. And to help that warp, you counter it with the craft wire, and it makes it nice and arch the way that it's supposed to. Okay, so I filled up my one side, now I gotta do the other. So let's do this. Let's put our small bead here at the end. I gotta flip these around actually, because it's pink first and then the white. And I'm going to go ahead and wrap that around the end of my glitter cord here. It is amazing how much that silver wire just really disappears into that glitter cord. There we go.
Nilay,
Yes, sir.
could we see a close-up? I'm so curious how your wire, like I'm so curious how the wire is blending in and what I'm aiming for.
Gotcha. Let me show you via wrapping this one. So I have it on the 26 gauge wire. So all I'm doing is just placing it to where it needs to be wire wrapped. And what I'm doing is I'm sort of tugging on the 26 gauge wire against the glitter cord, because that little compression allows it to kind of sink into the rubber tubing, virtually then just disappearing.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's a nice little discovery upon making this design. Robin is asking, is a glitter cord supposed to be sticky? Because mine is, yes. It is sticky in the sense, but what I would do is when we have our handy dandy nail polish that I asked you guys to get, you can actually go ahead and coat the glitter cord after this design is constructed, and the stickiness will just go away. I think that's just how the manufacturer stuck the glitter onto the rubber tubing, is probably by just like using some sort of a glue to stick it on there. So I apologize about that. Not the best glitter cord probably that I've ever worked with, but it did look pretty cool in the end. And so I was like, you know, how do I find a way to protect the cord, because it does look cool, but still be able to make it, you know, efficient and work the way that I want it to. So the nail polish seems to do the trick. And in fact, I have it nearby, so I could just probably do it after I construct this to show you guys. Let's see. Stephanie says, I thought the 26 gauge wire in I thought I had the 26 gauge wire in silver, but I don't. I'm going to use the blue. I'm going to use blue. You're going to use blue what, Stephanie? There we go. And trim. Ooh, you have blue wire in 26 gauge. That is fancy. That is fancy. Is it from Softflex or is it from a different vendor? Perhaps Artistic Wire. I think they make a blue one too. That's exciting. I do like colored wire. I haven't really used much of it because the neutral colors blend in with my silver silk. So that's just sort of what I've always used. Not that there's a right or wrong answer to that anyway. So anyways, here is what the construction of the piece looks like. What I do want to show you is if you decide you want to venture out in the nail polish world. Oh, okay, a multi-pack of 12 different colors in 26 gauge. That's perfect. Zebra wire has it in many colors. Ooh, I've not tried zebra wire before. Okay. And this has extra sparkles on in the nail polish itself. So I'm going to have a very radiant piece when all is said and done. And I'm going to coat the first side, or the upside. What am I trying to say? I'm going to coat the front side first, and then I'm going to coat the back side after this is dry. Look at that. It's hard to see the extra sparkles because there's so many in here on the cord, but it really does just make it extra delicious. Fantastic. So I'm going to flip this around because we are ready for hollow meshing now. So I'm going to grab my kit and find a package. And you guys got a full 3 foot of this color, which is the black hollow mesh with glitter tinsel. Sandy is struggling with the head pins. If someone wants to be able to grab the link to any one of Sarah's videos that that she covers a head pin on, that would be awesome for Sally, just as an additional resource. Okay, you guys get a full 3 foot spool of some glitter hollow mesh here, and really we're not going to be using all of it, so you'll have tons of extra to make a bracelet if you want to, or use it in a different project altogether. What I'm going to do is actually just measure about the same distance of the same length of my pinch beads, and I'm just going to trim it, but I'm not going to trim it all the way flat across because that would squish the wire. So I'm going to trim it just a wire knit at a time until it's all the way around like that. And occasionally these do have little wire fuzzies, as I call them, here at the ends that you can just kind of pluck right off. There we go. Thank you, Taisha. Just posted a link to where you can find more headpin making by Sarah. And Sam is recommending trying it with a thicker gauge first, which is also a good idea. All righty. So once I've cut my hollow mesh to the size of my pinch beads there, what I'm going to do is grab my little findings bag because we'll need a couple crimps for this next step. Okay. And what I'm going to do is at the end of this, I'm just going to loosely put a little loop there. The reason is this is going to make it so much easier to slide right down that hollow mesh without it getting caught up on the beading wire. So now you can kind of just work that wire through. Hopefully if it won't come out. If it does start to kind of unravel, which I see it doing, let's see if I can push through though. Seems to be holding up pretty okay there. I'm just going to go ahead and start pushing all the beads through. Okay, you'll start to see it come out on the other end there. And once it does, looks like I need to go in a little bit more. Okay, you can kind of pull this out and apart and get that wire back out. There we go. Hopefully my crimp isn't lost in there. There it is. We're going to save that out to the side. And now you can kind of just push this all the way through with ease. And what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to just pull some of these beads up and just kind of cover my last pinch bead there. And I'm going to pinch the knitted wire right over it as such. Okay, so it's got a nice little pouch of hollow mesh with the beads filled in there. Okay, and that's just going to sink right down into the bead cap. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this side. Just pinch it, and I've got a nice little, almost like a little pod of pinch beads there. Okay. And you want to make sure that you do leave a little bit of that hollow mesh and that it's not exactly cut too precise to your pinch beads, because you are pinching some at the top there. And so I just give myself a couple of millimeters extra of the hollow mesh whenever I cut it. That way I have just the perfect amount to pinch it at the ends there once I filled it through. And then I'm going to go and do the same thing to this side, speaking of. So let's measure out the size of hollow mesh that we'll need. So again, just go ahead and eyeball it to the length of your pinch beads and then just add a little bit extra. Not very much, just a little. A couple millimeters goes a long way. And then simply trim it off and shake out those extra little wire particles. And then to the end here, and hopefully you have cut yourself with a little bit of extra silver silk beading wire here to be able to do this. I'm just going to go ahead and make my little soft needle there, my little loop, and then I'm going to work it right through the hollow mesh. I think it came out through one of the loops there, so I just need to reposition and continue to drag it on here. Should come out the ends at the end here, and then I can just pull it out just like that. A little tricky, especially if you're working with a shorter piece of beading wire, it can be a little challenging. So I encourage having the extra, you know, a few inches or so. Ideally, if you had 4 inches, that would make it the easiest to work with. I always like to have a little extra whenever I'm doing any sort of bead stringing project. Let's see, I'm missing a few of my comments here, so let me make sure that I'm reading these. So as Sam mentioned, the little details like the 90-degree angle bend and using nylon jaw pliers makes a huge difference making the head pins. Yeah, I would love to show that again. I'll do it in detail and I'll do it with a thicker gauge wire. I bet that'll make it easy. So let's pin that after, and I'll do that after getting done with this demonstration. And then Marianne says, notice when Nilay's magic little fingers when he feels those hollow mesh. Are you talking about how glittery they are? Because I just polished in between our break here. I couldn't resist. I had the nail polish and I just had to do something with it, right? And then, oh, Trish was asking if the soft flex wire, if this is soft flex beading wire. And yes, it is included in your kit. You get the full 10-foot spool to work with. In case you do mess up, there is plenty of extra soft flex wire to remake it. Okay, so I'm going to now pinch the ends of my silver silk knitted wire here, just to give myself a nice little pouch again. Okay, I have a little extra on this one this time. So what I can do is just gently clip it off by going around. Hopefully not clipping the wrong thing here. So hold your breath. Okay, you can let go now. I got it. And just pinch in the end. Perfect. Marianne says, your magical gentle touch so that the mesh doesn't get squished. Oh, I know. I've squished plenty when I'm working on the machine, though, trust me. And sometimes even the machine misbehaves and it squishes a wire, and then it turns into remnant grab bags. Okay. Now, we just need to beat up the rest of this. So we're going to do a inverted end cap here, a little bead cap, so that it sits right along where the mesh starts. Then I'm going to do a little white bead. and then a little rondelle, and a little pink bead. Now, I should mention that precision is going to be key to completing all these different projects, because if you pick a different bead from our mix that I gave you, it might be a little bit challenging down the road to match the same style and the design, because the beads that I counted are exactly for the designs. You'll have some extra materials left, but as far as the beads go, I kind of just picked exactly what I designed the piece to be, just FYI. Marianne, you made it to the workshop. I'm so glad to see you here. You were asking, would you put a dab of glue on the ends of the mesh where the bead caps meet? You can. There's certainly nothing wrong with that. I would say because it's wire already, you probably don't need to worry too much about it, but if you feel the extra security is vital to keeping the design nice and together, I guess, then by all means, I don't think that would be a bad idea. I would do a very sensitive dab though, not a dollop, if you will, just because you don't want the glue to show and peel off later, you know? It's a good question though. I'm glad you asked that. Okay, and I need a pink bead here. All right, and now I just need to crimp. Now, I'm assuming that most of you are familiar with crimping, but I also do not like to assume. So let's just do this once together and then, you know, you'll have it. So I just strung on a little 2x2 crimp. These are included in your kit. A dollop of a daisy will do, as Emily said, for the glue. Good. You always have the right puns, Emily. I love it. Okay, 2x2 crimp in your kit. You should have 3 or 4 of these. I think there's 4. And so I just strung one onto the soft flex. And all I'm going to do now is grab a jump ring, which I don't believe I included a clasp in this kit just because most folks have a different preference for a clasp. For me, I'm just not good with clasp in general, so so what I designed doesn't have a clasp, but that's beside the point. When you do though, like just grab a jump ring, hopefully from your clasp stash, and you're just going to thread that right through, back through the crimp as you have your jump ring on. And so you've made a tiny little loop there, back into the crimp. So you can take a pair of crimp pliers, which look like these. These have a divot, and these are, by the way, Xeron ones, but there's different ones out there. They usually have a little divot, and then the idea here is you stick it inside of the divot to squish it into a little moon shape. And then you press the moon ends together by turning it on its side and then squishing it again. And then there's, of course, the magical crimpers, which Softflex Wire uses a ton in their demos and YouTube videos. But I'm just going to stick with the normal or the well-known squish crimp for my design today. Trish says, I have a tendency to make a hook and eye type of clasp with wire because I never have a clasp when that I want a handy. And then Emily is asking, that's a great point, Trish. I think that's a great idea. Emily is asking, are the crimps from Softflex Wire? Yes, absolutely. I got a giant bundle of them and then I just split them up into these individual little kits. I like their crimps specifically. They're very different from the competitors in their industry because I feel that they focus a little bit more on quality, which they're going to be a little pricier crimps, but I will say the offset to that is that they are very high quality crimps. And so when you get really good at jewelry making and you are ready for the big times here, then I would recommend going and getting them from Softflex Company. They have a thick wall on the crimp. So whenever you do squish it, you do know that you're getting a very good secure hold. And they don't have a seam. And some crimps tend to have a seam when as the tube was sort of folded over. And these don't, which makes the whole crimping process much easier and also very secure. Okay, so I put a clasp on a thing. So I feel like I can call it a day, but I'm not going to because we have 3 more workshops to do here. But we just have just enough time for trivia. Huh? We all love a trivia. All right, you guys, here's your questions as I'm finishing this up. Question number 1. How many tutorials did I put on YouTube this year? How many YouTube tutorials did I make in 2021? First person to answer in the chats wins. And this includes collaborations. This includes my TGBE events that I was on. And this includes any other tidbits that I might have put. Sam says 70. Brianna says 152. Girl, I don't think I would even like survive that many tutorials. That's awesome though. Okay, I'll give it a minute as I sort of clean up here, and I'm gonna just kind of organize myself and get things. So I have twin designs now, and mind you, on this one I have the nail polish drying so that the glitter doesn't chip off. And I might do the same to this one too. Try and figure out a clasp situation for that, and then probably give it to someone. Okay, so the number of YouTube tutorials that I did in the past year up to this point is 56 actually. So I need to read back through and see who the closest person is to this. I'm sorry, did I say 56? I meant 59. 59 tutorials. 59 tutorials, you guys. Robin is very close so far. She said 60. Ginger said 69. That's a few too many. But I'm thinking the 60 is a pretty good round number. So Robin, Miss Robin, chime in if you're here. Say a quick hello. And you really did pay attention to how many tutorials there were in my YouTube this year.
I missed it by 4.
Neely, Susan said 58 first before Robin said 60.
Oh, okay. Susan, well, why can't we can have 2 winners. Let's have 2 winners. Oh, and then, okay, so Robin, you're up first, and then I want to say a quick hello to Susan, was it? Susan.
Yeah.
See, I gotta find you. And you can unspotlight me, Joan, if you want to. There we go. All right, Robin, where are you? gotta look for you.
She don't want to be seen.
No. That's okay. Susan, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hi, Susan.
Hi.
Congrats on being, I saw that. And now I guess I didn't scroll too far back on my thing here. So you did say 58. So thank you so much for watching the tutorials, coming to my workshop, and just being an amazing supporter to Silver Silk. And I'm glad I get to put a face to the name yet again.
Well, it's just been great. I'm enjoying.
I'm glad you're enjoying it. So you get to pick between your prizes now. So would you like a plier set, or would you like our little knitting tool here?
I will go with the plier set.
All right, it is yours, my friend. I'm gonna put a sticky on it. Nope,
Wait.
I'm gonna write a note on it. My pen, where'd I put it? Here it is. Ugh. And you have claim. So Robin, if you're still here, I'm going to give you the knitting tool.
I unmuted Robin. She was muted.
She might have been accidentally kicked out too, or
She's there.
oh no, she's here. Okay.
I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yes. Where are you?
I'm right here.
Ah, there you are. Okay. Wait, can we put you on the spot for a minute? Make you
Oh,
bigger.
I don't know about that.
Here, if I do speaker mode, then I can see you big. There Oh my gosh, Robin, I see your name all the time with all the silky things. And I just want to say thank you so much for your amazing support and just excitement and creativity for all this.
Well, I enjoy it a lot.
I'm
It gets
so
me
glad.
through everything I've been going through.
Aw. Well, we're here for you, and that's why we exist. And, you know, I think it's just a nice place for all of us to come to and just feel so good and so happy. And even leaving it, just try and, you know, put some more good vibes out there. So thank you for paying attention to the YouTube videos and stuff. And I want to give this knitting tool to you if you don't have one already. Hopefully you don't. This is a really fun thing to use, especially for the soft flex wire, because you can actually kumihimo and braid with it and do all kinds of fun things. So I've enjoyed it, and I want you to as well.
Well, thank you. I just bought a whole bunch, so.
Yes, this will be perfect for that. I just saw a picture that Sarah posted, and I think it was on this tool specifically, but it looked like the bone color that was sort of knitted around it, and it looked like a really fun textural design. So I think you're gonna have loads of fun with this.
Well, thank you.
It is my pleasure. All right, are there any other questions from our folks here? And Joan, you can unspotlight us if you want to.
Oh, okay.
Bye.
Thanks for being on the spot, Robin. You're such a trooper. Well, okay. We can, I guess I'm gonna stop recording and I will see you guys. Stay on here. I'm just gonna stop recording, but I'm gonna say to the viewers who are watching afterwards, stay tuned for the next one. So let's do that.